Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Imtiaz, your Pakistan study teacher. Today we are going to take up the chapter number 3, which is about the land and environment of Pakistan. And in this chapter we are going to talk about the question number 11, which is about the plain regions of Pakistan. The material of this question is available on page 74 to 76 of your textbook. The basic objective of this question is to make you have an in-depth knowledge about the plain regions of Pakistan. The plain regions of Pakistan primarily comprise of all the 4 provinces. The one which we call the Upper Indus Plain, that mostly comprises of the Punjab province. Second, the Lower Indus Plain, where the Sindh province is located. The plain regions of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, stretching from the Peshawar Valley up to the district Attock. And the fourth one is the Balochistan Plateau, the whole of the Balochistan, which is in the form of a plateau. Plateau, remember, is also called the tableland. It is also a plain area, but normally a bit high from the normal plain areas. So Balochistan is a plateau, so that is why it is also in the plain regions of Pakistan. First of all, we are going to talk about the plain regions of Punjab. The areas which include the Punjab province, the Upper Indus Plain, which stretches from the Potahar Plateau up to the Mitton Court. Potahar Plateau is roughly beginning from the area Taxila, Wakant, stretching up to the Mitton Court, which is in the southern Sindh, and this whole area is politically named as the Punjab province. This whole area is irrigated through a number of channels. The first one is called the Doab. Doab is in fact a Persian word which means do panio. The land between the 2 rivers is called a Doab. In Punjab, as you all know, there are 5 major rivers: these Sutlej, River Ravi, Chenab, Jhelum, and River Indus. So the area located between these rivers, for example, the first one is called the Bari Doab, which is the area between the river Bias and Ravi. In fact, the initials of these, the starting initials of these rivers have been combined together to have the name of this Doab, Bari, B-A for Bias, and R-I from Ravi. So in that way, this area is called the Bari Doab. Then the other one is the Rachna Doab. Rachna is the piece of land between river Ravi and Chenab, R-A from Ravi, and C-H-N-A from Chenab River. So this whole area is called the Rachna Doab. Chaj Doab, similarly between the Chenab and the river Jhelum, that is called the Chaj Doab. And the area between the river Jhelum and river Indus is called the Sindh Sagar Doab. River Indus, if you know, is also called the Daryai Sindh. So that is why Sagar, Kinare ko kehte hain, the bank of the river. So that's why it is called the Sindh Sagar Doab. This whole area, plain region, is irrigated through a number of canals. These canals are mostly of 2 types. One are called the irrigational canals, the other are called the link canal. The irrigational canals are the type of canals which are taken out of the main rivers, like the canals taken from the river Bias and Ravi and Chenab and Jhelum. So these are the major canals. Then there are certain link canals. Link canals, in fact, these are the types of canals which link two rivers are two main canals together. Especially in 1948, while India disconnected the flow of water to Pakistan, especially through the three eastern rivers, that is Sutlej, Beas, and Ravi. So this eastern part of Pakistan, that is mostly the Punjab province, it was hit by a extreme shortage of water. Then, with the help of the United Nations, we succeeded to have a treaty with Indian government, which is called the Indus Basin Treaty in 1960, and we were provided fund by the World Bank, with the help of which we not only constructed the Turbela Dam but also the link canals, with the help of which the water from the western rivers, that is the Chenab and Jhelum and Indus, was taken through the link canals into the eastern river, that is the Sutlej, Beas, and Ravi. So in case we face a deficiency of water in the eastern river, so it could be met with the help of water from the western rivers. These rivers, which are River Beas, Sutlej. In fact, Beas and Sutlej, they merged together before entering into Pakistan. River Ravi, Chenab, Jhelum, and Indus. So that is why we have the name of Punjab. Punjab means the land of the five rivers, and in fact all these five rivers, they combine together and meet at a place in Punjab which is called the Panjnad. Panjnadiyan in Punjabi language, five streams. So Panjnad is the place where all these five rivers combine together, and then they collectively move into the Sindh province in the form of mighty river Indus, and of course, which is the only river in Sindh province. The various crops which are grown in Punjab province are wheat, cotton, sugarcane, maize, rice, etc. Out of all these crops, cotton, a very important crop for Pakistan, because it not only meets our local requirements of fabric manufacturing, but also is exported. Pakistani cotton being of the superior quality, it is very well taken all over the world. Similarly, the rice grown in Pakistan, basmati, various forms of basmati, they are also export quality. Wheat, although we do not produce abundant of wheat, every year we have to import a lot of wheat from America and other countries because of our local requirements, but we are at least producing enough wheat here in Pakistan as well. But that is not enough for our national requirement for the whole country. So Punjab is the primary area of wheat production, and with the help of the wheat which is produced here, the whole of the country benefit from it. Similarly, from agriculture, while we move toward the industrialization, we have numerous cottage industries and heavy industries spread all over the plain of Punjab. The cottage industries are well organized. These are the smaller industries in which mostly the work is done through hands, without the help of any modern machines. These are the various family traditions which are passed on from generation to generation, and of course they have now been organized in a very scientific manner, and the products which are produced in these cottage industries, they are not only helping the heavy industries to run smoothly, but also are a great source of earning for exchange for Pakistan, because majority of the production of these cottage industries is in the form of handicrafts, which are very well taken all over the country. The major hub of industrialization in Punjab is the Faisalabad, Lahore, and Sialkot, which we all know is a very important place for the manufacture of the sports goods and various surgical instruments. Wazirabad, similarly, is very well known all over the world for top quality surgical instruments. Similarly, in other parts of Punjab, we have a lot of heavy industries. Punjab is spread over 26% of the total area of Pakistan, and it inhabits more than 7 crore, in fact 7 crore 28 lakh people. Faisalabad, Multan, Lahore, or Pindi are the most congested cities in Punjab. The basic reason behind this dense population of Punjab is the availability of the various resources. Since in Punjab the employment opportunities are in abundance, the land of Punjab is very fertile, very suitable for agriculture, water is in abundance. So the people from different parts of Pakistan, they are attracted toward Punjab in search of jobs. Then, of course, in Punjab, the various other requirements of life are also easily available: schools, hospitals, roads, and electricity, gas, etc. So that is why the major concentration of the population in Punjab is the result of these basic needs of the people, which force the people to migrate to Punjab. The next plain area which we are going to discuss is the Sindh province. As we discussed in case of Punjab, that the upper Indus plain ends at a place in Mithankot. From Mithankot till Thatta, this whole locality is called the lower Indus plains, since the plain area is located on both sides of the river Indus, so that is why it is called the lower Indus plain, and this is the Sindh province. Here again in Sindh, irrigation is carried out through various canals which originate from the river Indus, and of course these canals are then controlled with the help of barrages. These barrages, in fact, provide not only a source for irrigation purposes, but they are also a source of producing electricity. So in the various barrages, the electricity is also produced, and the only difference between a barrage and a dam is that in a barrage we normally do not have any storage capacity, but in a dam the storage area is available. Similarly, in Sindh province, we have abundance of crops which are grown there: wheat, sugarcane, rice, cotton, dates, guava, and fruits especially. That is a specialty in Sindh province. Out of all these products, again, cotton is of extreme importance, because that is a very huge source of earning foreign exchange for Pakistan. So, in fact, Punjab and Sindh, both these provinces are the agricultural hub of Pakistan, and the whole country is dependent on the agricultural production of both these provinces. Their industrialization is mostly concentrated in Karachi and Hyderabad, Sakkar regions. Karachi being the main coastal area of Pakistan, where the Karachi Harbour and Port Muhammad bin Qasim is located. So naturally, a lot of import and export takes place through the Karachi Harbour, and industries they are mostly constructed closer to the coastal area, so the transportation charges could be avoided. So that is why in Karachi and Hyderabad we have a lot of cottage industry, and even the heavy industries like the Pakistan Steel Mill is located there, and a number of other major industries are also located there. So it makes it very easy for us that the manufactured goods can very easily be transported into the outside world through the Karachi Harbour without spending huge amount of money on the transportation. So Karachi and Hyderabad, these are the primary areas. Then we move on to the plain regions of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, as I told you, begins from the Peshawar Valley and stretches up to the Atik district. It includes the district of Peshawar, Banu, Dera, Ismail Khan, Mardan, Charsadda. These are the primary regions, and the major cities where majority of the population of the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is located. The irrigation of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is done through the various canals from the Warsak Dam and from the river Indus toward the southern side, that is the Dia Khan and Karak and Dera Ghazi, Kohat, etc. They are irrigated with the help of the canals which are taken from the river Kurram. And of course, the river Indus is also a main source of irrigation here in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Although, like Punjab and Sindh, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa is not a major producer of the various crops, but even then, sugarcane, vegetables, and fruits, etc., are grown here in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, especially the hilly areas of Pakistan like the Swat and the Chatral, etc. Then toward the southern side, that is the Palachinar and all these tribal areas, they are very famous for the production of the various fruits. And of course, then they are not only consumed locally but are also exported as well. Industrialization is not that great here in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, even right from the period of the British rule over the subcontinent, mainly because of the location of the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Since, as I told, it is very remotely located, very far away from the coastal areas, and especially in imports and exports. It is always kept in mind that the distance between the manufacturing units and the harbor must be as short as possible, since KPK is located at a great distance from the Karachi harbor. So that is why industrialization has not taken place here at a great scale. But even then, in Peshawar, which is the main hub of the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, we have a lot of smaller industries in the form of cottage industries, where things are produced in a traditional manner and they are exported all over the country, especially the various handicrafts which are made here, and the woolen garments and chatrali patti and swati shawl and the various other dry fruits, etc. They are exported not only to other parts of Pakistan but also abroad as well. The other plain area of Pakistan is the Balochistan Plateau. Balochistan, as I told you, is in the form of a plateau. Plateau is a piece of land which is above the normal land in the form of a table. We call it the tableland as well. Balochistan, which is 46% area of the total land of Pakistan, that is 7,96,096 square kilometer. But it has a very little population. Even in the modern times, the population is less than 10 million, mainly because of the inavailability of the various resources. Balochistan, the plateau land, is not suitable for agriculture. Agriculture is not done on a greater scale. Similarly, industrialization is also very limited here. Other job opportunities and the basic requirements of life were not present here. So that is why even in the modern times, the population of the Balochistan is not that large. But now, with the introduction of the Gwadar port, of course, which has become a hub of the various trade activities, so now the population of the Balochistan is rapidly increasing. In Balochistan, the irrigation is done through the various canals, primarily from the Guddu barrage, and some like the Hamun, Mashkhil Lake and other smaller rivers. The areas where the canals are not available, tube wells are operative. And there is another method which is called the carways, which is a specialty here in Balochistan. Carrays are in fact the channels of water which are covered, because the land of Balochistan is mostly sandy, and the temperature here is often very high. So that is why during the transportation of water from one place to another, a major portion of that water is either absorbed by the sandy land or is evaporated with the help of extreme heat. So for this purpose, this method of the covered water channels, the water streams, they are mostly covered and they are cemented, and which is called the carriage. This technology was imported from Iran in the past, and it is still being used here in Balochistan. Balochistan is very famous for its various crops, especially the fruits, vegetables at a very limited scale, sugarcane, wheat, maize, etc. But as I told you, Balochistan is not very suitable for agriculture, since this land is mostly the area where a lot of minerals are available. One, the land is mostly rocky as well, and the non-availability of water as well. So even then, like in the Ziyarat Muslim Bagh area, fruits are found in abundance. So that is where we have a very limited production of the various foods. Industrialization, mostly done here in the form of cottage industries, because the people of Balochistan, they are used to have nomadic life, and every tribe, they have their own flocks of mostly the sheep, the smaller animals, the sheep and goat, etc. The hair on their body, they are shaven off during the summer season, and of course these hair are then used for the production of the various woolen garments, which is done in the cottage industry. Now with the introduction of the Gwadar port, this whole area has now transformed into an economic hub. Of course, a lot of import and export takes place through the Gwadar port. So that is why now the economic condition, and especially the job opportunities and industrialization in Balochistan, is very rapidly improving. And of course, with the improvement in the transportation facilities, that is, the communication links have also been improved. So now it is expected that Balochistan is going to economically improve in the very near future. So these are the four plain areas of Pakistan, in which we have so far discussed about the location or the areas which include in each province, then the various methods of the irrigation which are used for the irrigation of the various crops, the production of the various crops, and the industrialization, the names of the major cities, and of course the status of the industries in different provinces of Pakistan, and about the population, the concentration of population, and the reason behind the greater number of the people living in an area. And like in case of Balochistan, we saw that very few people live there, mainly because of the non-availability of the basic requirements of life. So that concludes our lecture for today. I hope you must have understood it to some extent. Even then, if you have any queries, any confusions, let me know through the WhatsApp, and we shall inshallah be having a review of this video in the first lecture which we are going to take up. Till then, Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.